other than at the bottom of my screen. Are we live? We're live now.
We're live now.
We're 100% live now.
Again, this is a historical show today, and we have YouTube legends in no particular order. Starting from my left is the esteemed Mr. Jez Allum.
Hello.
Jez has got a painting blog, if anybody hasn't seen it already, which is called Jez's Painting Blog, creatively.
Very imaginative. I am a very imaginative person when it comes to naming stuff. You'll see some of the nicknames of some of the people on here now. Fantastic. What have I got? Cheers. Yeah.
Here's a
painting blog.
Pancake, Payne.
And I just love
Black powder.
Black powder. There's no wrong with a bit of black powder.
Why is your name Pancake Payne?
Because that's my name.
It brings the pain with pancakes.
Because I've got a fuck pancreas. Basically.
Okay. And then next we have the awesome legend. He's on everything at the moment. You can't get rid of him. Mr. Ringo Simpkins.
Boom.
The weather's lovely.
Legendary. The Chili War Gamers, Mr. Spud Tate.
Yes.
And then there's me. So, anywho's, onto the show. First of all, we're going to be talking about something I know very, very little about, so this will be quite interesting for me. This is black powder. So, black powder. I've heard it called that a lot by Pancake.
Cheers, Bob.
Who wants to introduce to the viewing public, assuming that we know nothing, because I don't, what is black powder?
Well, how do you want to start, Ringo?
No, you go ahead. I'm just here for the bling.
Oh, fair enough.
Just here for the monocle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's doing his monocle now.
Come on.
There we go.
So yeah, black powder was all about Napoleonics in what is it? And then really good.
Black powder, yeah. It covers certain periods from the Spanish succession all the way up to the Second Sudan War, which is quite a varied
it will cover a whole thing, so it's not just Napoleonics.
Yeah, that's
a lot of people think it's just Napoleonics, but it's not. It covers American Civil War, American War of Independence, pretty much all the major
Zulu Wars.
Yep, it was up to Zulu Wars. Yep. So up until the sort of the musket was phased out, rifling started to come in.
That is correct, but it's within Napoleonics, which seems to be the most accessible to get into at the minute. With the two supplements that comes with black powder, with the Albion Triumph 1 and 2, it does make Napoleonics a lot more easy to get into than the other periods that come within black powder. Plus, I think it's more of a draw to Napoleonics, with from Napoleon and Wellington and all that, especially within the United Kingdom, anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely the most popular period, really.
Yeah, without a doubt. And figure-wise as well. Most of the main manufacturers, like your Perry's, for instance, and you just got a vast more range of Napoleonics than the other systems, the other periods that are in black powder. So it just makes it a lot more easier to get into Napoleonics, that's all. The two books out at the minute is Albion Triumph 1, which covers the 100 Days campaign, which is Waterloo. The other one is Albion Triumph 1, which covers the Peninsular War, and I do believe they're bringing out the next one, which will cover Austrians and Russians.
Cool.
Which will be the earlier periods. Yeah. So, which is going to be cool, because I'm looking forward to that. I want to get myself some Russians and get them painted up lots of green and more green and even more green to paint.
So I want to know some facts. I want to know some real life, intense facts
Ooh, I don't know about
powder. Okay. So, what kind of dice does it use?
D6.
So just D6. Right.
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
That's it. That's straightforward. D6. You don't need many of them either. You know, I mean, half a dozen.
Yes,
It's plenty. It's plenty for you.
Okay.
You're not rolling buckets and buckets full. And
This is a next serious question. What makes it different to like other games?
The order system for a start.
Yep.
Basically, the command structure or the ordering of your troops. You have to specifically say and state what your troops are going to do. And then you roll to see if your troops can do that, and then they go as far as they can to what you've given the orders. So you can't just, if you say you're going to move these troops forward without saying stop, and you get enough orders to move them the full distance, they can't stop. They've got to move the full distance. You have to state specifically in your orders what they're going to do. If they're in a line and you want them to move forward and get out of line, you've got to tell them to move forward, get out of line into attack column or form square and such. If you don't say it, then you can't do it. And it does bring out quite a lot of fun instances where you forget to state what you want to actually do. Like in real battle, I mean, you have to command and control your troops, and a lot of it is command and control.
You can also fail to get orders as well.
That's exactly it.
And you know, we're joined by one of the great masters of failing to get orders. Which then means is line infantry are in column in the middle of a field.
Yeah, that's right, and then you get absolutely massacred. So you can blunder and actually go different ways, because the command structure is quite a good idea as well. We commanders have command ratings and stuff.
Yeah.
But also in the book helps you out with that and gives you all your command structures and stuff like that. But the good thing about it is, what I like about it is, well, probably why I like Age of Sigmar, you don't go on points costs. There is a little section where you can trying to help you in choosing by giving you pips, so you can have equal like armies. But basically, you don't. You just turn up with your forces and arrange a game, sort of thing, with scenarios, kind of like Age of Sigmar, which is kind of scenario based, which I kind of love, because at the end of the day, war, no two armies decided what they was going to bring to the battle before they fought it. But it all adds to excitement in my eyes.
Mm.
So that's why I'm drawn to Black Cloud rules. Actually, but a lot of rules systems and people that play Napoleonics, the older generation, don't kind of like it as much, because it's not got the turning and the wheeling of the troops. But the thing is about it, it's quick and easy, but it's still got lots of tactical depth and play. But you can have a game of 3 or 4 brigades full of a mass 8-foot by 6-foot table in 3 to 4 hours. Whereas other Napoleonic rule systems, you're talking a full weekend. And I ain't got a full weekend with a family and work and shit like that, so it does appeal to me a lot. So that's why I kind of enjoy it. But if you want to get into Napoleonics or any of this book is beautifully written, beautifully illustrated, and so easy to follow. But as the authors say in it, it is also just a guideline, and they advise you to change or add anything you want to make it your own game, which I quite like as well. Yeah, which is like nice and fresh. It's not rigid. You're not adhered to it. But then again, whoever you're playing with, you've got to be on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I only play with people like I want to play with people that are a bit too rules are safe. You know what I mean? But, yeah, it is a good system, and it's been supported quite well, actually. To be fair, so. But, yeah. I mean, it can be played in any scale as well. It's not just rigid to 28 mil.
That was what I was just going to say. That's one of the things that I like about it, is the fact that whilst you've got the company that produce it, Warlord Games, selling 28mm miniatures for that particular game, in the book they do actually point that they tell you about other manufacturers of miniatures. They tell you about other scales, where you can go. It's not. It's the thing I like about Black Powder and Pike and Shot and Hail Caesar and all those other games that Warlord produce is the fact that the game's written by wargamers for wargamers. And
Exactly,
the attitude of the company and the attitude of the rule sets are inclusive rather than exclusive, which is what we seem to be getting a lot of these days. But yeah, like I say, 6mm. This is a 6mm battalion. I just knocked them off. You see that? The 6mm black powder battalion.
Are they backers?
These aren't actually. These are Allum.
Oh, aren't they? Oh, right, cool.
Yeah, and the detail of Allum miniatures at 6mm is brilliant.
Did they do any other scales?
Whom? Adler.
Though for those, yeah. Is it 15? Did they do 15mm as well?
I don't know whether Adler do, but you can get 15mm from Majesty Bulletin and the like. Yeah, but no, I like these. But yeah, that's the other thing about it is the rules. Actually, in the rule book and everything, it's got matrices and setups for different scales.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, because obviously we can't all afford the area in our homes for a 28mm grand battle, even at brigade level. You know, but
minimum size you're looking at 86 for 28mm.
Well, I've got a railway with more room than that, but so I can't.
Talking about room, I think Pez, you've got a couple of pictures of the Leeds show that I went to with Warlord. And if you can bring up those pictures, those are the big tables. They're sort of like.
Is that the 16 foot?
Yeah, it's 16 foot by 8 foot, so it's sort of it's a big old area to fill.
Yeah, I think that's the one that goes down the Delta.
28 Yeah, it looks absolutely spectacular at 28.
It does,
It really does. But
it's an awesome sight.
The man hours required to paint up so many models is just horrendous. It can take.
It is definitely a labour of love.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing quite like it, especially from a painting point of view, where that's my main focus on what I do. It's absolutely spectacular when you get the British and the red coats and the white trousers and grey trousers, and you've got the Union Jacks and the facing colours like the blues and the greens, the red. It's just superb.
It's awesome. It's an awesome sight.
And the French as well. It's just amazing. As a spectacle to behold, it's breathtaking. So yeah, absolutely. But smaller scales will allow you to play a big game on a reasonable sized sort of like 6x4 or 8x4 table.
Yeah, because that's a standard, isn't it? 6x4. Yeah. Everybody seems to get their hands on a
6x4 table. Yeah.
That's what I go looking for when I'm buying a dining room table.
That's what I keep saying. 6x4.
Yeah, tell the wife you can have any size as long as it's 6x4.
Yeah, 6x4, love. Yeah, if anybody tells you otherwise, you're lying.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, but it's good. I like it. It's all the Warlord games. The first three that they did, sort of like Black Powder, Hail Caesar, as you'll know, Spud being a Hail Caesar expert, and Pike and Shot. Yeah, all really based on the same. It's sort of based on War Master, which was the old GW. Warhammer Ancient Battles was Warhammer 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
It is loosely based on War Master.
Yeah. The order system is loosely based on War Master. Yeah, where you have to give orders, and how well you pass your order test by determines on how many orders you can carry out.
Exactly.
Pancake said earlier. So yeah,
it's all written by the same people.
You can form line and then shoot.
Yeah,
it's great.
But I know we're kind of jumping in front, but same. All the things you've said for Black Powders is in Hail Caesar.
It's effectively the same system.
And when I did, when I started first reading it, my first thing was this is like War Master, exactly the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, the commanders and stuff. It's just a little bit more in depth with like the blunder table. There's a lot more things, and there's no points thing. And I think like when they changed that Age of Sigmar to no points, and everyone were complaining about it, it was just like, well, these historical games haven't had points for probably 20 years. No, none of them really complain about it. It was like a brand new thing on the scene. It's like, no, it's been going for ages. Like, I don't really understand why it's so upset. But I really like the Hail Caesar things. I've been getting on my Romans and stuff. So and I've seen that like the scale of like my army is not really that big compared to like real life things, and I'm thinking, oh no, this is a lot of models.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
It can be a lot of models, yeah.
Have you got the starter army from Warlord, the Hail Caesar starter army?
Yeah, I've just got an Imperial Roman starter army.
That'll give you enough for a good afternoon's game.
Oh, 100%. Like it's mental how much there is in it. I can't believe it. It's
a
pretty
bargain
intense.
as well.
It's mental.
And a miniature,
fantastic. There's like 160 models, I think, in it. Like 80 quid. It might be 140 models actually, I think. But yeah, the detail on them it's just a bit silly to be honest how much it is for price. It's just mental.
Yeah, try Napoleonics then.
Yeah, and painting 2 armies up, not 1.
Well, this is one of the things that I thought when Steve was sort of saying that, we'll talk about Napoleonics and black powder and everything. And he said, like, you'll be an expert. Well, I'm not an expert because it's 12 months since now when I first started looking at it.
Yeah.
And
I'm up to 2 years.
Well, the thing is, I've been put off Napoleonics and American Civil War and all that sort of horse and musket stuff because in my mind it was all about facing colours and unit markings and flags and details and everything being perfectly this, and all the people that were involved were, sort of like not sort of like rule freaks, but more to do with that particular regiment had grey piping around its yellow epaulets. Therefore,
at a certain period,
you stupid boy. And it was all that sort of stuff. But since I've been getting into it, it's nothing like that. I mean, you've got people like Paul Alba and some dude called Pancake Payne. Whatever. Doing all this sort of stuff. Liberator and Von Ketteringham and the like, and all of them have been very welcoming and very sort of open, and it seems to be the whole thing is non-competitive from the point of view of the presentation of your miniatures, which is very refreshing, I think, given that a lot of the world seems to be so tied up in the fact that highlights, shades, this, that, and the other, blending, and all that sort of stuff. Napoleonics and historic games, like these mass battle games that you can do, it's not about that. It's more about the unit coherency and the look of the whole unit on the table, and you simply don't have the time for all that. And everybody seems to be quite friendly about giving you advice on unit colours and this, that, and the other, and then saying, it don't matter, I wouldn't bother put that white edging around that bit of a collar because you'll not see it from 4.5 foot away. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That was the thing that used to put me off Napoleonics, and I think I've lost 20 odd years of very, very enjoyable miniature collecting, painting, and gaming simply for that fact because of a misconception, which I think is a shame. Which is
very
why
similar. Very similar experience with myself. Sorry,
which is why I think that Warlord bringing out the black powder rules and pushing Napoleonics through themselves, and not just Napoleonics, but other horse and musket and pike and shot and historical games with the same pizzazz that that we've seen from Games Workshop over the last 20 years can only be a good thing, because hopefully it will give it a much wider audience than has currently been seen. Because let's face it, most people's view of a historic wargamer is some dusty old cardigan wearing sitting in a shed somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Steve, get your cardigan, mate.
I took my cardigan off specially. Do you know what I mean? Fair point.
I kind of had the same thing. I know this is kind of massively weird, but like when I first got my first ever scale model tank, I really didn't want to paint it because I was scared that someone was going, actually, the shade of green in 1943 on Tuesday the 7th at 9 a.m. it took 3 bullets to the right and side flank. And I didn't want to be like that, and I was like, why was there someone that kicks off about it? And that was kind of the same thing with like all these historical things. I would just like, someone is going to say, he was holding his sword in his left hand at that fight or something, you know,
Yeah.
and I just think, oh, I can't be bothered with that. I just want to play. But I
Yeah,
think
because that's the
now,
thing.
if
It
I
actually
play with my
happened.
mates, it's a lot better. Yeah.
There are
That's
actual
why I've
units and
normally
colours and
stayed
everything.
towards fantasy gaming. Yeah. It's no, as a being an admin on sort of like the bolt action pages and the black powder pages, you do occasionally get the odd person that comes across like that, but the vast majority, it's very few and far between. Excuse me. And I think it's quite endemic with Warlord that everyone is really, really friendly. The company's
Yeah.
an amazing company. You know, I've been involved with them now sort of a couple of years, I suppose, since I started to get into the historical gaming, and it was always fell out with Warhammer. Didn't like the prices for GW. I'm not going to go on about that, but it just became too expensive for me to do. I just went, I can't be bothered. Didn't enjoy the game on 8th and just came out of it. And then I started trying loads of different games, and then I sort of came across the bolt action, and Jamie Tranter, who's one of the guys as well, one of the chillers, and he sort of introduced me to it, and I had a game with him, and that was it. From then I was hooked. It was very much 40k with Warhammer modifiers, and it just something clicked with me, and I just went, that's amazing. And it's really, really good game, because it plays like Warhammer 40k. It's movement 6, you've got 24-inch range weapons, you can move and fire, you can assault, and you know, it's just it's -1 to hit for long range, -1 to hit for soft cover, -2 for hard cover. Oh, that's Warhammer modifiers, and it just all tweaks. It just clicked with me.
I think
that's amazing.
40k will be 1,000 times better if they use bolt action rules.
Yeah,
I'm not even kidding. If they got Warhammer 40k tomorrow and they did what they did Rage of Sigmar, okay, so they've scrapped 40,000 years of war, okay, that's all gone, Emperor's dead, blah 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 blah, and they went, alright, so this is new rule set and it's exactly like bolt action, I'd go out and buy some goddamn Space Marines.
Bolt action is.
Isn't that Gates of Antares?
Oh yeah.
Indeed it is.
Ooh, interesting. No, Gates of Antares is there. There you go. Ta-da! So it's a very cool book that I am currently working my way through. Obviously, it's a free rule book. You can download it. It's in beta at the moment. It came out alpha about a year or so ago, and it's in beta now. You can download the rules for free. You can use whatever models you want. They are producing ranges of models now, and I believe the game is due out for release in November. Excuse me. A lot of people are looking at it and thinking it's bolt action in space, but it's actually more of a progression, really, of Rogue Trader. If ever you played Rogue Trader, and that whole sort of role-play type element kind of comes into it. But I think from chats I've had with some of the Warlord guys and other stuff, it's very much where Rick wanted to take a 40k before other people got their hands onto it. And it's completely different now. So it's not just bolt action in space. It's a nice grown-up version with lots of modifiers, and you don't need as many models. You can play it with a smaller amount. You only need sort of about 15, 20 models, and that's it. So looking forward to things for the rules for the vehicles and the big creatures coming out a bit later. It should be interesting. Looking forward to it, mate. Very excited.
Yeah. On Gates of Antares, just a little point. Oh dear. Hello?
Yep, sorry.
What was
Sorry,
that?
breaking up, mate.
It's me.
What did you say?
You have the floor, Nathan.
Did I? Oh, I'm just saying, on the thing with Gates of Antares, I'm not so stuck on half the miniatures. Half the miniatures I like, the other half I don't really like. I'm kind of.
It doesn't matter though.
Yeah.
You can
I'm
go off and
drawn.
buy anybody.
Yeah, I know, but I like when a game comes out, I like to buy their miniatures for that game. And I think when I look at some of the other stuff they do for bolt action and that, I think they're better than the Antares stuff. I think if the miniatures were a bit more better, it'd be received a lot more better. Because the other stuff that's coming out from other manufacturers at the minute, they need to step the game up with that, with the miniatures for that game, I think.
I think they would have
I
probably
like the models a lot. Go on.
I think it's worthy of another discussion on a later show.
Okay.
I've got loads of models on my blog that a Warlord has sent me through that I've painted up and they've gone onto the website of loads of different ranges now for Antares. I'm very lucky I've got pretty much all of the models that have been released so far for Antares. And I do get where you're coming from. Some of the paint jobs don't always... They're good. They're very good. They don't show off the best of the model. You know, the new Freeborn are amazing sculpts. They are absolutely beautiful. And when I actually opened the box up and got them out of the pack, I was blown away with them. They're fantastic. So they're up on the blog. I believe they're going up on Warlord's website soon if Mr. Dando remembers to put them up.
Cool.
And you'll be able to see what I've done with them. The blue.
Shall we?
It's a
Shall
nice
we
paint set.
for another show? We'll do a sci-fi one.
Sure. Okay.
Well, let's just jump back to the rule books for Napoleonics. So when I had a quick look on the website, there was obviously the main rule book, and then there was like Albion Triumphant Volumes 1 and 2.
It should be, yeah.
The Last Argument of Kings, Zulu, Rebellion, Blood on the Nile, and Orphan Eagles. Now, have any of you lot got those books, or can you give any?
I've got the Napoleonic and I've got Zulu.
Yeah, I've got
the campaign books, or what do they involve?
You get lots of scenarios in there, and you get lots. And I'll just get this one here. The Albion Triumph 200 Days. You get the army list. You actually get the army lists in the Albion Triumph books, which actually gives you the stats. Because in the main rule book, you don't get no stats. You get a few of them with because they do like little bat reports at the end of the Black Powder book. So you get some little stats that shows you what you can give them. But actually in the Albion Triumph books, you get stats for the Brunswickers, the Hanoverians, the Prussians, the French. So there's a lot more variety, and it is, to be fair, a really good book, and it's value for money, the Albion Triumph book. Because without it, you've got to kind of create your own stats sort of thing from the main book.
They did a supplement for Hail Caesar that you can get. I think it's about 15 quid.
Yeah.
All of the ancient armies' generic stats and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that is actually missing, I think, from Black Powder, is the fact that there isn't anything like that for the Black Powder period. But then again, at the end of the day, most troops behave like most troops. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't it? You know, a Prussian musket is probably a bit worse than a British musket, but at the end of the day,
yeah,
you know, they're pretty much the same, aren't they?
Yeah, that's
and
what.
The same for the Civil War and for the the 7 years and all that sort of stuff. It's all pretty much of a muchness as far as battle tactics and army stuff.
It's like when you base your miniatures for the game. That unit has them unit stats, no matter how many they're based up, whether it's 6 to a stand, 4 to a stand. It doesn't change its shooting abilities or its stamina or anything like that. It stays the same. So if you've got miniatures for Napoleon, a lot of it is, I know they're going like your frontage. You're based on a certain frontage that you're allowed, but nobody's going to really overbase them totally different to anybody else by masses of centimetres. So if you've got existing armies, you can in any scale, it will transition straight over.
One of the things that I spent so much time between August and Christmas last year worrying about was basing, as you may remember.
Yes, I know. Yeah, as a lot do.
and Ron Ketteringham said to me, he said, base them so they look nice to you.
Yes, because it's your army, your game.
Yeah, because he puts like mounted figures on infantry bases as commanders.
I do that as well. It just make them look really good. And they've got they do look cool.
And obviously, I spoke to people from other manufacturers other than Warlord, like Peter at Calpe, and he said the same. He said, I give you, you can have as many as you want, but obviously you've got to think about painting them and basing them. But it doesn't really matter that much, because at the end of the day, there's so many different rule variations that your ground scale is different in all of them. So you just average it out. So, you know, like an 8x4 or a 4x4, and you're fine. That's centimetres we're talking.
Yeah. That's 60 because the unit doesn't change.
No.
No matter how big it is, the stats are the same. You can add them in because obviously the VAT party gives you extra rules in it to add flavours for each period. Because obviously, like each period, there's certain things, types of weapons change a little bit and stuff. But yeah, it's all in there anyway. It's really good.
So I know we're all going on to points things, but like, so could I just buy like a starter set and go against your starter set, and it would be okay, or would it be like, oh well, you've got too many cannons, so I'll take one off, and you put an extra thing on?
No, just go for it. It won't make much of a difference.
So out of all you guys, have you all got 6 mil?
Paid by gentlemen.
It is.
Have you all got 6mm armies, or is it just Ringo?
Just Ringo. I was going to start in 10mm when I went to Warlord Games Open Day, and then I seen Perry's table, 16-foot table in the middle of the hall, and I thought, oh my God, I've got to do 28mm. I've just got to do it, and that's how it took off. Perry's have got a lot to answer for.
So do Warlord do all the scales?
No.
No, they don't.
No, there's lots of different manufacturers of all the various scales. Like I say, in this country we've got Bacchus in Sheffield. Everything seems to centre around Sheffield. Although you've got Adler in Brighton. You've got Irregular in York. They're all little small, you know, small business operations that produce some amazing miniatures. You've got companies like Magister Militum producing, well, not just producing, but importing lots of 10mm, 15mm, 20mm, 28mm figures. Oh, do you know what I mean? There's Empress, the 28mm. You can get 15mm from them. Do you know what I mean? It's just like there's just a raft of different figure manufacturers, other than Warlord. But at the same time, I remember when I got the Warlord British, Peninsula British, and I looked at them, and I thought, oh, I don't like them. But then when I painted them up, they were just as good. That's how
I thought of the Warlord ones. Yeah.
And you know, my British are front rank. You know, simply because I like front rank because they're quite big.
Chunky.
They're nice and chunky, and for my old eyes, they suit me. You know what I mean? But the detail on them is beautiful. You know what I mean? The front rank and Calpe miniatures paint themselves. They're a bit like the new Age of Sigmar miniatures. They're just superb sculpts. But then again, they cost more. Do you know what I mean?
They do. Yeah.
You know, with Warlord, I think Warlords do 2/3 of a battalion strength now, don't they?
Yeah, they've downsized their boxes, which gutted me, but hey ho.
Yeah. So you know, the Warlord miniatures route in is a lot cheaper, but you know that's a good thing in my view because hopefully more people will buy Warlord miniatures and get into the historic gaming.
So they can produce some more,
produce better ones. Not that the ones that they produce now are
definitely vouch for the quality. They're fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
I mean, the just to digress slightly back to Pike and Shot, the miniatures that the Perrys did for the Pike and Shot stuff are absolutely amazing. If you ever get a chance to get any of them, it's just superb, absolutely brilliant. I mean, I don't know whether Perrys produce many of the Warlord ones now. I don't know.
No.
Yeah,
no, I don't think they do.
Yeah.
So
another point.
Go on, sorry, go on.
About people getting into sort of like horse and musket wargaming and you know Napoleonics, American Civil War, and all that sort of stuff. You know, I know we're talking about black powder, but a lot of people are put off by the fact that you need thousands of troops. You don't need thousands of troops, but you know what I mean. You need lots of figures. But I got this, which is Songs of Drums and Shakos, which is a skirmish game, and you only need 12 miniatures for this. You know, per side, and it gives you the advantage then of being able to collect you know, 12 miniatures from each of the various armies. So you can get like 12 Russians, 12 French, 12 Spanish, 12 Portuguese, and get around and have a look at all the different armies and stuff, and just collect small little groups. Then you can have a skirmish game. Oh, it takes about an hour and a half to have a quick game of this, but it's a good route in if you want to dabble. You know, you don't want to pay, you know, 40, 50 quid for a good sized battalion or whatever. You know, you can get a little skirmish game. I think it's brilliant, and I think it's £6 that rule set from Amazon.
As Spud's got the starter army for LCs, the Warlord games, Napoleonic starter armies are quite good as well.
They are, yeah.
To get you up and running.
So as far as somebody who was looking to get into the game, basically they haven't got to look towards building a massive army, and it won't take them that long to build it up.
No.
What would you give your opinions on how to approach painting? Because for me, when I looked at the painting of them, it was a bit of a headache trying to figure out what colours to do them. What uniforms they're wearing.
If you want to go down that route, the easiest route I would suggest is try getting if you're going to do Napoleonics, you start with a Perry box, because inside the Perry box you get a good sheet in there, and on that sheet is everything you need. Warlord could take
a good sheet.
Yeah, Warlord could take a tip from that and do theirs a little bit better, because all the explanation of each company colours, especially for the French and that, where they sit within each company is on that sheet, and it gives you lots of colour variants from the Voltigeurs to the Grenadiers and to the line infantry, the lights. So I'd say go with a Perry box first if you're very unsure on what colours they should be. That's the one. Look, that's for the British, and you can't go wrong with that with a Perry box to start with. If you're very unsure on the colours and
very useful.
I think you'll find that's the Peninsular British.
Yeah,
that's the 100 days.
Yeah, and that's what you get, same as for French and in the cavalry boxes as well, the hussars and the like. So
they're very good. I mean, you can be daft as well. I mean, you can go and buy books like this.
I've been also another good one is because like I've got into like for the Hail Caesar side. Obviously, all like the different legions and stuff. You get all the transfers with it for like the Romans. Yeah. Obviously, it's like what reds. If they were the green, it depends whereabouts they were in the time. And I'm just gonna have to use Google. You know, Google's free. Yep. You know, there's a lot of information on there, and I know it takes a little bit longer because you've got to try and make sure it is all the information's correct, and you've got to kind of take its word. But there's enough people in the community. If I paint my guys blue pants and red jumper, whatever, and put it on the web, it's the third legion of doom. Everyone else would say
Spud, to help you out, right? Search for Phil Hendry, or go to the Warlord Hail Caesar forums, because
the forums on the Warlord they'll be answering you in minutes on there. They're really good on there.
But Phil Hendry painted a lot of the miniatures for the Hail Caesar shots, and he's very approachable. You just email him through his blog. He'll get back to you. I'll give him a link to put that down for you.
Oh yeah, Dr. Phil Hendry.
Is in the book.
It's in my book.
Has anybody purchased the Le Hay Saint box?
No.
Because they do that one, don't they, Warlord? And they do Rorke's Drift as well.
Yeah. I like the look of the Rorke's Drift one.
Well, my mate had the Rorke's Drift one, and it was actually quite cool. Yeah, it looked quite cool.
That does look really good. I've liked the Hay Salt, but on its own, like without the miniatures that come with it. At some point.
Yeah, just the building. Yeah,
just the building, because you could transition that over to other periods as well, and it'd be good for bolt action as well. That would.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. You can break it down. I've seen the kit. It's very nice, and you can break it up so you can have the farmhouse bit and the stable bit, and so it would work very well like that.
There's a fair amount of troops in there as well, isn't there, to get you started?
Yes, definitely. Starting out,
There's more than enough to get you started, yeah.
Because it does come with its own. own scenarios in there as well, to get you fighting over that farmhouse with the different rules that aren't in the Black Powder book or these other supplements.
So
the
for
rules come to those
175
troops.
quid, 175 quid, you've got the scenarios, the buildings, some
The
troops
rules
to get
for
on there. I imagine the rule book's in there, is it?
Oh, I don't think the rule book is it? Is it, Jazz?
Well, I think it is. It's a very decent chunk of kit. So it's great.
It's well worth the money. It is
you
well
and a
worth the
mate
money.
and go in and sort of one gets the French, one gets the was it the King's German Legion? Is it? And
It is, yeah.
there's some troops, yeah.
There's some
yeah.
Hanoverians, I think, as well. Is it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's pretty
So
cool.
it's a great little set to start off with. But they
So
all,
did,
none of the Warlord starter boxes are not good value for money. They're
they
all
do seem
very,
to
very
give you
good.
quite a lot, don't they?
Mm.
So what about as far as if people are looking at getting started and they purchase the troops and they've got the rule book and they're thinking to themselves, okay, now I need to make a table. How do they go about it? Have they got to buy masses of buildings, or have they got to buy loads of teddy bear fur, like Mr. Pancake?
Teddy bear fur is the way to go, I'm afraid. You can't have a Napoleonic table or Black Powder table, or any table, to be fair, without teddy bear fur. It's just awesome, because you just roll it out.
The funniest question I ever heard about, or read about that was somebody said, "Oh, how did you get your that fur such a the short variety of the fur?" And I said, "Scissors."
Shave it, because you actually just shave the robes in it.
What, with a hair shaver?
Yeah, get hair shaver when you want robes in it. Hair shaver it, and then just get what do you call it, like a burner, and burn the edges of it, and then just create your roads through it if you want. Which it looks pretty cool, actually.
Awesome.
But no, if you're going to do it, you're looking at, well, I get our teddy bear fur for 2 meters by a meter for £6 something.
Well, that's good value, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's from a shop called Boys, and they are nationwide, actually.
You can use carpet towel as well.
Yeah.
For fields.
For small games, and you would get a nice, decent small game on a 6x4, but ideally you want, because it revolves a lot around movement, you need bigger the better, to be fair.
So in like a lot of the games, even like in historical times, unless it's somewhere like, just for an example, so when the Romans were going into Scotland, unless it was like that, a lot of the battles that they fought were in open battlegrounds, so the only thing you need is hills, really.
That's right, yeah.
To move.
The ancients rule sets, definitely.
Yeah, because I've even seen it in the rule book. There's hardly any real terrain.
No.
The terrain just looks like on the outside, just to look good, I think. Unless you're doing a siege as well, obviously there'll be a castle. But before we go massively on sport, this is my set. I got it down from the thing. So I got all that, and you do get 60, 80, 100, 124 models you get, plus all the transfers. Cool. And then because you got this, you get an actual special model with it anyway. And then because I got the rule book as well, I got you get the guy off the front for free. So you know what I mean? So it's just extra bits, and then
nice.
Yeah,
and I got just do the
most of the books now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So I'd really suggest going for something like that. And then after that, once I've got that done, I'll be definitely going into war machines and stuff. I'll get in some cavalry as well, because I haven't got any cavalry yet. I've only got troops, and I reckon just like in real wars, an historical thing, cavalry are meant for a lot. Even if it were light cavalry for flanking or heavy cavalry, people going, oh my god, they've got heavy cavalry. Because if I rock up with my Romans, and I go against somebody who's got heavy cavalry of some sort, I was just excellent, well yeah, it was nice playing. Anyway. You know, I've got stuff. Everybody just do it, just brace yourselves. Hope for the best.
Nath and Jez, when you're painting up your stuff, have you sort of developed a technique over the years of how you approach a box? Let's say you've got a massive box set, or 3 boxes of Perry's or Warlord. You think to yourself,
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot to paint. How do you approach it now?
I do mine in companies.
I tend to batch paint them in my units, a regiment or a battalion. I'll just go, right, how many am I going to put in there? Right, 24, and I'll just go through them just one at a time in order and just block paint them. The easiest ones to do, and they're an absolute godsend as a French player, is the late war
Greatcoats.
infantry, because they're all in greatcoats.
Yeah, brilliant.
And it makes things so much easier.
It does, yeah.
And it's just grey car primer or brown spray primer or bone coloured primer, and it's just put all those once you've got the basic colour on, paint the straps, paint the flesh, paint the buttons, and then give them a wash of Army Painter, usually strong tone.
Oh yes.
And then give them a quick highlight back up again. Again, I've got a complete how to paint guide of French infantry on the blog. Step by step, and it may also be coming to a magazine near you soon. You may need to keep your eyes open on that. So I'll be doing a painting guide, which I will have to apologise to Guy from War Game Soldiers and Strategy magazine, because I haven't got around to writing the article yet on how to speed paint American Civil War guys. But I will be doing that very soon for him. So it's easy. It's car primer and wash, or black spray and a dry brush or something like that. So it's very easy to do, but it's block colours. The first time I painted the British in particular, I was pulling what little hair I've got left out.
I hate painting British.
It was an absolute nightmare. But I've got used to it now, so it's you find a technique, you find out how to paint the Napoleonics. Never painted them before. I say I'd never really done any historical stuff until a couple of years ago, and then it was only bolt action, so it was all. What colour are they? Khaki. What colour are they?
I'd never painted a horse until Napoleonics. That was a shock.
Yeah.
Don't
so
go mention
So it was very easy, but once you start getting things like they've got yellow facing colours around the collar and the cuffs, and they've got silver piping around it, and then the buttons are brass, and it's just
don't worry, you won't say
it's enough to make you go insane at times. So
I invented my block system for painting British. This is a British block.
Yep. Excellent.
Because it's got Prussians on it at the minute, but it's a British block. And what I did was I thought, right, I'll stick them on my bolts, and there's 4 holes in here because there's 4 on a base, and I've got 2 of these.
Bolt action.
Yeah, it's
bolt action.
Bolt action.
So all I do is I stick each base, and I've got a Prussian block here that's currently empty. So that's a Prussian block, and there are 8 on there. And I just find that helps so much because I've got 2 blocks. I've got one for painting and one for priming. So while one's being primed, the other one's being painted. And I take them all off, and I put another set on, and you just go through it block by block. So you're never surrounded by miniatures. And the other beauty is you can just pick them up and put them out of the way, so you're not constantly staring at them. And there's 9 holes on this because that's 8 and a wounded. Not that the Prussians suffered many wounded.
I like wounders. They take up lots of space, so you can just miss figures off. Or dead horse. I used a dead horse, so I only had to put 3 on the base. That was good instead of 6.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. When I was reading my book that night, the most bit I got stressed out of everything is I explained in my rulebook about basing for models. Because obviously I'm used to like Games Workshop games all being separate, and then Kings of War block unit just on one base, and then like Fantasy and Old School all regimented up and stuff. And then this, I just didn't think. I even said it in like the video. I said I don't think it really explained it well enough that like that block unit counts for 100 men or whatever. You know,
it's ground scale.
Everything's about formation. Because I was gonna go stick them all on a 100 by 80 base. I was going to stick them all on there, a bit like what on Kings of War, and then that'd have been ace, wouldn't it? They were like, "Are we going to change formation?" Oh, yeah. I never have to change formation ever again. So, Yeah, so in Black Powder, do you change formations as well?
You do.
Like order and
Yeah,
stuff?
you can.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find that in the book here.
You can
You
do
can see this coming through.
march column, attack column. You can form squares. So yeah, there's quite a lot of formation changes.
They have some formations in the book. It shows you in the Black Powder book.
So, a couple of questions now. I've got one here from some, I don't know who he is, some kind of Solvent Abuse UK. Stupid name, anyway.
Dodgy bloke.
He's new to wargaming. Can you give him some tips on collecting and painting his first army? He's a bit nervous and he doesn't know where to start. Well, that counts for anything, doesn't it?
Tell him to go to Salute. Go down to Salute and buy some figures from Salute.
Yeah, it just as well. Also, if it depends what game he's into. If he likes fantasy or sci-fi.
Well, with a name like Solvent Abuse, it's got to be Warhammer, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. I think it would be Warhammer.
Yeah. I can just imagine him. I can just imagine him getting all fluffy about wood elves.
Yeah.
What, the war dance?
One here from Mr. Jez Allum. There's one here from Mr. Jamie Tranter. He says, "Why are you such a sexy beast?"
It's all in the genes, baby. Well, these ones, these genes.
We've got Mr. MC1 Gamer. He says, "How do?"
How do?
The Diamine F16. That's Mr. Bingo's friend, I think.
Ian, yeah.
Ian.
Oda's away.
Noodle.
Hello,
He's
Ian.
having a pop.
He's a big.
So right, guys, I think what we'll do is
we'll
wrap up the Napoleonics Black Powder section of the show.
Bad.
We're nearly an hour on that one now.
There's enough to chew on there.
Yeah, there's plenty more to get on. We won't overwhelm the viewers with Black Powder. We'll move on to some bolt action. Only because I know a little bit about it. I can join in now. See.
Is this some like modern thing?
Bolt action. Yeah,
bolt action.
Does it make use of these thermal combustion?
Bolt action to me.
Out of you guys, who's played bolt action?
I've played bolt action.
I play it quite a lot.
I haven't played it for months and months and months and months.
I watched a Beast of War video, so I can play it.
Oh, that's it.
If you can play 40k, you can play bolt action.
I watched a Chatapoo video about it once.
Yeah. I watched a really good game at Dred's house.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm going to touch on that in a bit.
Oh, right, yeah, there was, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
The scenery was good, wasn't
it? Somebody said something about nice carpet fields or something.
Yeah. Should have used, teddy bear fur.
Should have been teddy bear. That's it. It's all about the teddy bear fur.
It's all about the teddy bear fur.
Yeah. So basically, bolt action. The things I like about it were the dice mechanic.
Dice mechanic's fantastic.
Where you're drawing it out the bag, you never know who's going to go first. But you sort of, what I like about that, rather than rolling off against somebody with dice, is that if we've got 5 units each and I take out 3, I know there's a good chance that after that you're going to go in succession. And I'm going to be
swamped.
And you can sort of gauge what's going to happen, can't you? You've got to try and hope. I mean, there've been plenty of times where you've put your strategy and your troops in positions where you want that next dice, you want that next colour to come out and be yours.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all hinged around that. And you see a little bit of it in Age of Sigmar. With the the
initiative roll, yeah.
But I think bolt action does it the best. The mechanic is perfect for that, I think.
Yeah. So it tells you not to overstretch when you get a lot of succession of dices.
Yeah. You can get a really lucky run of dice, and you can
overstretch yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. It's very common. So
then
that a few times.
the counter attack
a lot of people, when they Yeah.
When they first start playing it,
when they start off as well.
They rush forward straight away, and they do leave yourself open.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dual function of the dice well, the fact that you can put them down, you know, with the advance, run, fire, down, so you know which unit's activated and you know what it's done as well.
Yeah.
So it's quite a clean game in that sense.
It is. It's very cinematic as well, I think.
Yeah.
It's
very much Hollywood World War II.
It would be Private Ryan if it was a film. Oh, God, definitely.
we don't mention Fury because of the Facebook Bolt Action group, so we don't mention the Fury film. There is so much nerd rage over the Fury.
Oh God, yeah.
So yeah, so
we've never seen Back of the Bulge, have they?
It must have been deleted before I even seen these Fury ones.
Oh God, it's the Furious.
Why?
I didn't think it was that film.
Originally,
why does the tiger move out of cover? Why
does
that's mental.
How can the squad massively kill all the SS guys right at the end? How can they do it? Because it's Hollywood and it's Brad.
Because it's Brad Pitt.
Because it's Brad Pitt, mate, and that's all you need to know. The inglorious bastard.
Originally, when Bolt Action came out, it was basically sold as a squad combat game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Platoon level skirmish.
Yeah, it was platoon level squad combat. That's another thing that drew me towards it because I thought, you know what, I haven't got to splash out masses on troops. I can have
absolutely
a few platoons and maybe a tank, or if I'm lucky,
the option of one vehicle, isn't it?
Yeah, and then lo and behold, before you know it, you've got an entire massive army. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just chuck loads down.
Yeah, I
don't pay points for that either.
Gone from a very small German army to quite a substantially large German army. As I know, Mr. Singleton, Volley Fire Andy, well done, son. Is also a favourite on the Warlord pages. He's got an obscene amount of Germans. And I should be playing very shortly.
I mean, everybody knows
that. Not as nice as mine, but yeah, they're painted very well.
That is true.
No, Andy's tanks are absolutely phenomenal.
He's got an article on a stug he did for War Games Social Strategy. I read that while I was on holiday last week. That was quite good. Was it Zimmerit, weren't it? Putting Zimmerit paste on and stuff?
He makes it out of milliput.
That's it.
Makes it out of milliput,
that's a really good tutorial.
And then gets some and then scores it. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to know how to Zimmerit up a tank, get War Games Soldier and Strategy. Good article in there.
Yeah, War Games Soldier and Strategy is an excellent magazine.
Everything's got a points cost, hasn't it, in Bolt Action?
So it does, yes. So all the Age of Sigmar players can go and play something else now.
They can, yeah. I mean,
there's structure, damn it! There's structure and points.
If you come from most kind of games, and you come from a game where it uses points, it's quite easy to drop into Bolt Action in that way.
Yeah, it's incredibly easy.
You can start a game at about 500 points upwards, can't you? Like a little skirmish game.
Yeah.
The game at Dreads was 12,000 points. 12,000.
Yeah.
A lot. That's gonna be a lot of dice.
Well, we couldn't use dice. We had to use little chips with initials on.
Okay. Yeah.
There was me and Mac versus Dread and Jamie, and we were chip with their initials on. And there was loads of chips in this bag, man. I mean, it turned forever a day.
That is the one you find with Bolt Action is once you get to a large points value, the amount of order dice that you've got can slow the game down a little bit.
Yeah.
So most people tend to cap it around about 12 to 15 order dice per side, and that's going to give you enough for a good evening's play, a good 3 or 4 hours.
As soon as we told the last year what we were doing, and he goes, "What? It won't work. It's not designed for that."
You're insane. No, it's not designed for it. You need to activate multiple units with one order dice. So you need to, if you're going to play with that many points, you need to break it down so that you've got 2 or 3 units activating with one order dice.
Yeah, possibly.
by the same sort of way, but working it backwards, you can actually play very small games as well, where you actually get an order dice per model, and it works as a very small squad-based game, and that is incredibly good if you've never done that. It's very, very cool.
I like the idea of that.
The order dice mechanic is very, very flexible. I've used it, just touching back on Black Powder, I've used it to do skirmish games of Black Powder. So I know you've got the book of, what is it, Shakos and whatever it was? Ringo? Yeah, the sort of, yeah. So obviously the only other skirmish Black Powder type Napoleonic game I've seen was Sharp Practice. And I know there's a lot of people like that, but I'm not one of them. So I adapted the bolt action rules to play skirmish Napoleonic games, and amusingly called it Black Action. Sorry, that's copyright.
You did say he was imaginative at names.
Absolutely, Black Action, mate. Yeah. So like
I've got one called Bolt Powder.
Exploitation, Bolt Powder.
Bolt Powder.
So,
I use that when I've been. Yeah, I use that when I've been in shower.
Yeah, there's also chili powder as well. Chili powder, and you know what? I've got some hot models.
So basically,
coming up with Beecham's powders when you've got a cold next to.
Another thing is, looking at the armies that they brought out originally. I mean, obviously they fleshed the ranges out a bit more since then. And in the main rulebook, you did get small sections for Germans and Americans, didn't you? And a bit of French, I think.
Yeah.
Some Soviets, maybe. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, the Soviets were in there. Yeah.
Soviets.
Yeah, like
the four main protagonists in the main rulebook. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was quite cool that you could buy the rulebook and be up and running. But another thing that I've done recently is if you go to Amazon, I've been downloading the PDFs, so like the main rulebook or the supplements. The army books are about £6 to download as a PDF through the Amazon store. Even though if you've got the hardback, everybody should get the hardback. But the softback, aren't they, the army books?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just to be able to have it on my iPhone through the Kindle app, or have it on a Kindle, just have it with you is quite useful. And that's quite
it's very useful. Yep.
And quite cheap as well.
Sorry.
I'm
having
Did we wake you up?
You're going to mention about some ebooks now, Ringo.
You were mentioning about ebooks and that sort of stuff, and I'm having a nightmare at the moment with Black Library and some of their stuff. It's just doing me head in. Why can't they release stuff as PDF so you can actually read it on stuff? Do you know what I mean? On anything, right? That's a stupid whatever it is. When I had an iPad, it all worked. I haven't got an iPad anymore. None of it works, and there's like loads and loads of money's worth of stuff that I can't read. Anyway.
Can't read anyway.
Buy yourself an iPad.
Stop whinging.
And do you know it's raining in Manchester? You know.
I'm old enough to whinge.
You are.
Well, looking forward.
He's earned the right, mate.
Being originally an American Army general, you know, and a veteran of many battles and tournaments. The thing with the Americans that I liked was they could move and shoot.
The run and gun.
Yeah, run and gun. They could move and shoot down mountains.
Yeah.
They had two airstrikes instead of one. That was quite cool. And you had to learn how to like Shermans. I mean, not to say that Shermans are bad.
What the shit?
There was a lot of Shermans going on, and I think I had every variant going, but I still got sick of seeing Shermans. But once I'd realised that they weren't for taking on tanks with necessarily, and you could use them as troop support like they were supposed to be. Once I got my head around that, they became amazing with the HE shells.
HE shells, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, man. I mean, no penalty for range on a HE shell. I think it was D6 damage with the HE, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it 2D6 for the Sherman? Something daft.
So
No, it was
D6 instead of D3.
D6 instead of D3, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's a
So
big
that was pretty
difference,
cool. You're shooting against infantry with your Sherman and backing up your squad. It was very cinematic as well, you know, when you see the Shermans behind the troops if you're keeping them back. Because the first time I started taking on tanks with them, it didn't go very well, you know.
It didn't go very well.
It didn't
Is
last
that a
very
tiger?
well.
Boink! Oh dear.
Yeah, you fire what you want, but you'd probably hit it, but it would just bounce off the armor.
It's a bounce off. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But yeah, I like the Shermans in the end. The M36 Jackson, which I've got my notes here, is 255 points for a regular. And it's fairly cheap, I think. Fairly cheap.
So what's it for, Benson?
I tend to run Panzer IVs, and they're about 195. So and
Yeah,
that's
but
more than,
has it
more
got a
than good
super
enough to
heavy?
take on stuff.
Yeah, give me a Stug. Give me a
it's got
Stug any day.
Yeah, Stug 3 is the favourite.
Stug 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Stug's
So
good.
that's my favourite.
If
Or
you go from a-
Hetzer, because they're very cheap. They're about 165. And it's
They've still got a good gun on them.
It's the standard heavy anti-tank gun, so it's like
Yeah.
plus 6 pen. So that'll do, mate. Yeah, it's very, very powerful.
But
And
when
against the
you
Sherman, that's pretty really good.
It's pretty much as good as dead
taking on,
if you hit it.
Like that. You know, unless you've got a Sherman 75mm is your staple diet, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the only real thing that's got a super heavy weapon on it is the M36 Jackson.
Yeah.
So, but you can take out Tigers with it. You know, they're 395 points for a regular, 475 points for a vet. You know.
Jesus.
Yeah. I've got a Tiger platoon. I've got a Tiger Zug, and it's like 1,000-point army just with 3 tanks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's not going to kill anything. It's just going to sit there and get pinned to death. So.
I mean, I've had a tournament game where this guy had his Tiger 1 and he had it in reserve, and I put my M36 up on a hill and just kept it on ambush.
Yeah.
Just waiting for that perfect time when he just drove on.
Yeah.
And he drove on and I rolled a 6. And I rolled a 6. It was amazing.
Yeah, amazing to see your opponent's face go, fucking
475 points off the table.
Another thing is that it doesn't matter how good it is, if it's got multiple pins on it, it's going to be hard work to use anyway.
Useful. It's going to be useless, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the JS2. I've seen that roll on and just got pinned to death and just reverse back. Just nothing for the entire game, you know.
Yeah.
By sheer amount of pins on it.
My most expensive tank is 200 points.
Yeah.
My army.
200.
My army didn't really know what tanks were, so I don't know if you guys can guess what they are yet. They didn't really know what the tanks were, and they designed a tank that actually had 5 flamethrowers on it. So Jez might know.
Yeah, it's Japanese. Yeah,
Japanese. Yeah.
So yeah, I bought this army just for the tanks. I actually got into bot action because I wanted.
No, you only bought it because you could shout Banzai.
Yeah, and I can shout Banzai. I was like, okay, bot action. It's got tanks in it. I can shout Banzai. I don't even care whatever happens. Open it up like, oh, what tanks can I have? They look a little bit small, don't they?
I've got.
The armoured cars, that's what they are.
Comparing one of the light tanks, I think it's the Chiha or something like that. It's one of the very small tanks, and I've got it parked horizontally in front of a Tiger, and it's not as wide as a Tiger tank. It's that small.
Oh wait, I've got one.
I'll see if I can find the picture, and I'll send it through. But it's incredibly amusing.
See, I've played in a few different games where another thing that I liked about it was very, very scenario based, so you had to keep your eye on what the scenario was.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yep.
Just whacking at each other, trying to kill each other, wouldn't always win the day, you know. That's quite.
It can do it, but it's not the best. No.
That's your biggest tank.
I know I've got big ogre hands, right? So this is some GW clippers. There you go. That's how big it is. That's my brute force.
and ignorance.
My troops get encouraged by this beast. When it turns up, they're like, "Oh yes, it's here. We're not going to die straight away." But yeah, as long as I can, every time I charge, I shout Banzai. I just don't even care. I'm just going to charge everything. Banzai! But Spud, that's a tiger tank. Banzai!
It's strange that is actually quite a viable tactic for the Japanese as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of the stuff that you've got where it's all about pinning as much as anything with the game. It's not necessarily about killing stuff, it's about pinning units and making them... it's very difficult to remove an entire unit from the board unless you've got a lot of firepower. So the other way you counter that, pin them to death. Just pin. It completely takes them out of the game. The Japanese are just incredibly frustrating to play against in that regard, where it doesn't matter how many pins you've got, you gather order dice, you give them a run order, as long as they run towards the nearest enemy unit, and you shout Banzai at the top of your voice, then that's you've automatically passed it with a double one. So you remove a pin marker and you run forward. And then the hard in combat.
I didn't know
as
any
well.
of this.
Yeah. So when you get them
I didn't
into
know any of
combat
this
as well,
when I got it.
they're disgusting, because they've got I think it's tough fighters or something like that. I can't remember the rule off the top of my head, but they always fight until they're dead to the last man. I've got the rule book on my phone as well, so if I can find it.
Just got a question here from Dave Nichols.
Hi, Dave Nichols.
Hello, Dave.
Hi.
Have you looked at Battle Group Kursk?
I've had a look at that a few times.
Nope.
I haven't.
Nope. I haven't myself, no.
Well, that's a short reply then.
Yeah, sorry, kid. Yeah.
No, we have. Sorry, mate.
I've always hung my nose over it at shows and stuff, but never dipped my feet into that one.
And another one, Josh Callard says, "What is your favourite bolt action force to use?"
Ooh, German.
Yeah, me.
Americans.
Grenadiers. With the new Grenadiers.
I have always been.
Can't beat Rangers, American Rangers.
I've always been a German fan. From when I was very small, growing up, I've always liked Germans. So the first army I did was Germans. They all have some very nice points. I think you briefly touched on the American one where they can move and fire without penalty. That's a huge thing in the game. They've got the extra penetration from the tank shells. One of the things you didn't mention, which is very useful as well, is the radios for when you're outflanking. They don't suffer any penalties for moving on, which again, very, very useful. So the British have got lots of little special rules. So they can rapid fire, or you can have things like an atom, so they can fight really well, or they've got a lot of very nice little special rules. And if Russians for the main floor, they've just got loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of men, and they're just very hard to kill them all.
The Germans,
they can have lots of stuff.
Hitler's buzzsaw. That's a good rule.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bone of contention again on the bolt action Facebook pages where people are going, the crap for the points. They don't give the very good return for like the 20 points that it costs plus the extra man to be a loader. And I agree with that.
You're gaining the distance, though, aren't you?
But yeah, there are plus points to it and there's downsides. I think for me at the moment, there's slightly too many cons to pros for including an LMG in my team, for including an MG34 and MG42.
Well, do you take assault rifles a lot then?
I not as much as I could do. I have got one squad entirely armed with assault rifles, a squad of 10, but I don't very often break that out because it is a little bit cheesy. I'm not a full-on historical gamer. I've come, as I said, I've come very much from a Warhammer and 40k type background.
I've got about 2 to 3 assault rifles in my squad.
But generally my squads for Germans are usually around about 7 to 8 men. 3 usually on average have got assault rifles. The rest have got rifles, and then there might be like a couple of Panzerfausts in there. I've got a couple of Panzerfausts. You've got to have a couple of Panzerfausts.
No, I've come up
It's a
with
very cheap and
lots of
effective way to
anti-tanks.
make your
Yeah.
units not take anti-tank tank shock tests. So as long as you don't fire them, because you'll never hit anything, apart from the floor with a panzer vest. So yeah, but they're useful to have in, so you don't have to take tank shock tests when you're assaulting vehicles. Yeah, incredibly useful.
Yeah,
Which is always
Germans for me.
It's good.
Germans
It's good
for
that
me.
you can get them panzer fighters because it gives basically any of your units some kind of anti-tank capability, doesn't it? So at least they've got
the Germans have got every unit pretty much has got access to anti-tank grenades, but the Germans will also have access to Panzerfaust as well.
anti-tank
but
grenades.
For me, it's the
very good, to be honest.
the very
Or the
expensive.
Panzer
You've
Strike.
got to equip the entire squad. The Panzer Strike's an entire unit on its own right, like the bazooka.
Yeah.
Which
is pretty cool.
It's a relatively inexpensive order dice, about 80 points for a regular one. But again, you've got more chance of fitting the side of the floor than you have of hitting a tank with it, unless you're right next door to it, in which case you might as well just assault it. But it's awkward, but it's nice to have that option. But for me, it's the flexibility of the German lists.
And you've got a lot of armor to choose from.
Good. You've got a heck of a lot of stuff to choose
The best looking, coolest tanks going.
And the best uniforms.
Best uniform, yeah. They're very interesting to paint as well.
Yeah, they are. They're very good. I'm about to.
Still not as good as the Americans.
Yeah, Americans. Yeah. Field drab, US field drab, khaki, US field drab.
You can paint it quick, you see.
I mean, it's field grey. I mean, I put up when 50 Shades of Grey came out at the cinema in February. I put up a meme that I made, which was 50 Shades of Field Grey that went down quite well. And it was a picture of all different uniforms that had all faded over time. Because one of the most common questions you're going to get on the forums or on the bolt action pages is, what colour do I paint? My guys, am I painting this the right colour?
And it doesn't really matter, does it?
I got hung up on. No, as long as it looks right, it's going to be right. There's one of my friends contacts me quite regularly. He's just starting a US Ranger, a US Airborne force. And he was going, Jess, what colour would you paint this? What colour would you do that? So, I'll give him the answer. So, but at the end of the matter, as long as it looks kind of right, then chances are it's going to be, because once they've been out in the field and the units, it's got mucky, and then they've washed it and it's dried out and it's got weathered in the sun, there's no sort of like colour fast dyes, to any great extent in the 40s. It's gonna weather, it's gonna fade. So you can have different shades through a unit if you wanted to. As long as it looks right, do it.
Cool.
Go for it.
Sorry, go on.
I say I got very hung up, as a lot of people do when they first get into historics. We've touched on it briefly when we were talking about the Napoleonics and the black powder. Saying that black powder, saying that it's.
I'm never going to live that down.
What colour? No. What colour do you do this? What colour do you do that? Am I going to get the right bit of facing colour on this? Will it matter if I get that colour wrong? And as you go through and you spend more time on the pages and get to know the people and the people that play it and the people that are giving you the advice, people like Andy Singleton, again, fantastic for giving advice out. When it comes down to it, as long as it's close enough, then it doesn't matter whether you use Vallejo Field Grey or whether you use Games Workshop Citadel Eshin Grey. They're virtually identical when you both get them out of the paint pot and slap them on the model. So, but there's so many choices now. There's some of the spray cans that you can get as well from Plastic Soldier Company, and I believe Bolt Action do some as well, and Army Painter. And you can use those. Uniform grey is fantastic. It's an awesome colour if you're painting Germans. So if you're just starting out and you don't know what colour to paint them,
there you go.
Army Painter, Uniform grey, and Army Painter, dark tone ink. So spraying with Uniform grey, then a slightly darker grey for the helmet, and then just wash it all in dark tone, Army Painter dark tone ink. And then you can just give it a quick dry brush over afterwards, and it will look fantastic.
Cool. What do you guys think about flamethrowers in the game? Because I know they're tweaking them, aren't they, on vehicles?
Ooh.
Again, that's next to Fury. That's probably up there with Scale, Fury, and Flamethrowers are if you
even
excuse
I
the
know
pun, the
about
three hottest
flamethrowers.
topics. So yeah, five on a tank, Spud, is going to make me rage of seeing
And not
quite badly.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
going to
yeah,
take it just because I'm that kind of player.
Yeah.
I
to
knew
be fair,
that tank.
they are
That's why I did
they are
Japanese.
very powerful, but they were in real life. The man-pack flamethrowers didn't really need any kind of tweaking. I thought they were bad enough as it was because you've got to move up to within 6 inches. You then got to fire. It can run out on a 1 or a 2, and you may not even cause damage. It's pretty much a one-shot weapon if you get it there, and if you're lucky, you might get 2 shots out of it before they're either destroyed or you've run out of fuel. Vehicle flamethrowers were the ones that were the big bone of contention because you could move a long way, you got a long range, and you didn't have to roll to hit. And when you did hit, it was devastating. It was 2d6 hits. So it was.
Was it 18 inches at one point?
It was. You could move sort of like 12, and then it was 18 inches for the range. So it was a phenomenally long range, and you didn't have to roll to hit, and it was devastating.
And also, there was
it definitely needed tweaking.
Was it the British? Was it from more flamethrower one with the tank at the back of it, or a crocodile? One of the two.
The crocodile, mate. Yeah,
Crocodile.
It's a Churchill.
Was a flamethrower, and then even if it ran out of fuel to fire the flamethrower, it still had the was it a 6-pounder or something on it?
Yeah,
It still had its military
a Churchill.
fire as well.
It was a Churchill with a flamethrower on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was like an extra thing to it.
Yeah, it was a lot. It's 500 points, 495 points.
Yeah, but
it's like
it wasn't original.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But it's not going anywhere at all.
That's true. So, last thing about units, medics. I love the medic. The medic was 30 points for the Americans.
Correct. Yeah, it's 30 points across all of them, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was brilliant. One of the best units because my medic was a legend, absolute legend.
It was busy then, was he?
I think. Oh man, I tell you what, mate. Honestly, right. When you work the close combat mechanics, right, and obviously most of the time, let's say 9 times out of 10, you could rush the medic in a room towards a squad of SS, right, and obviously he'd die, but that one time he didn't and he wiped them out. Yeah, that was.
That US medic running into a building with his M1911 and just popping a cap in somebody's ass, and that was it. It's like, yes!
Honestly, the game again we did at Dreads, the 12k game with Jamie and that. You asked Jamie Tranter. Yeah. My medic won the entire game for the Americans at the end. At the end, we had to take the last farmhouse. We had to have it, and no Germans. And the last squad was SS, and he was the only one near. And I ran him in, and he killed them all.
Oh, the shame of it.
It was amazing.
Poor
it was
Germans.
Almost like the times where you roll a 1 for your airstrike, and, and the opponent gets to choose it, and it comes in on you. I mean,
and you want to wipe your unit out.
Yeah, but it's funny though, isn't it? It's funny.
I have had a game against Americans where he got an air observer and he got 2 air observers, and both times he rolled a 1. I just devastated his army.
Yeah.
With both of his own airstrikes. And then my Luftwaffe 1 came in as well, because I was playing with Bolshevik.
That's Americans all over.
So there was 3 airstrikes in the US that day. It was pretty messy.
Well, basically, that's from when I started looking at it for more, getting more fun out of it sometimes.
Yeah.
And I did the game with Andy 2D6 where we did his Belgians against my Americans, and Andy came up with the scenario which was World War II instead of World War II, because obviously the chocolates in Belgium is a connection. And we had the remnants of Wilhelm Wonka's chocolate factory. And the scenario was that I had a little model that I made. I had a little model of Wilhelm Wonka that I made. And Andy made some Oompa Loompas, little tiny dwarf Oompa Loompas, like spirit. And basically, we had to get inside the remnants of the factory, and we had to search for the golden ticket, because then Wilhelm Wonka will give you the secret to the everlasting.
The everlasting gobstopper. Did you have to get Augustus Gloop out of the tiger turret?
Well, basically, once you've got the everlasting goose stepper, your army would march forever. You see.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's why they were fighting
Very
over
funny.
it. And
Very,
what
very
we
good.
did,
Very good. I like that.
Andy wrote some rules for the Wilhelm Wonka and the Oompa Loompas, and it was probably, honestly, one of the best games I've ever played of Bolt Action. It was amazing fun, you know. So what I'm going to do now, I mean, I had to sell my Americans for various reasons. I didn't really want to get rid of them, but I had to. But the force that I'm planning now is Italians, you see. Can you see where the theme is going? Yeah. So the Italians are going to join in the hunt for Wilhelm Wonka's golden ticket and the everlasting goose stepper because they want to make chocolate pasta. You see. And what's awesome about the Italian force in Bolt Action is that if you lose 3 units more than the enemy, dice-wise, you know, if I've got 5, you got 5, and you lose. If I lose 3 units, and obviously I've only got 2 left, my morale for every unit drops down by 2.
good.
That's across the board for everything.
Yep.
But on the upside of it, if I kill 3 of the opponent's units more than I've got, then my morale jumps up by 2, which makes them invincible. So that's pretty cool.
Very good. It's very good.
That's what you get
like
for an Italian writing the rules.
They've got no heavy tanks.
Oh yeah, let's not forget the favouritism of the was it 3? Is it not 1, not 2, but 3 fortifications they can put up? So they're like 3 sets of walls they can put up.
It's D3, isn't it?
Is it D3? D3.
It's
Sorry.
D3, yeah.
They can set up.
Yeah, within 12 inches of the back end, you can put in fortifications.
Yeah.
They're like
Awesome.
a defensive army, and if you're against the Americans, for example, they can't run on when they come on the table. It stops you from running on, which is quite cool.
They were very defensive in North Africa, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm getting big with the Italians, I think. I'm gonna, because they've got silly hats as well. You see, they've got sun hats. I like that.
Yeah, there's
I'm picking Italians because I like the funny hats.
That's how Andy
they're taking the piss, huh?
That's how Andy did it. So I was with him at the Warlord Games Day last year.
You look like
I met you at the bar, didn't I? Yeah.
Come to think of
that's
it, you do look like Nicolas Cage.
It's the mandolin, isn't it?
The mandolin man.
Well, he said, I'm going to pick the Belgians because they've got the silliest hats. And I thought, you know, people are talking about Age of Sigmar and how to choose armies because you like what you see.
Exactly.
That was it. You see.
Yeah.
It's got. I think it does go a lot on visual.
So World War II is coming up, episode 2 soon, when I get my Italians built up. So that's pretty cool.
A very nice army that a lot of people don't play is the French. It's a very good army, mate. No, well, I don't mind. I've got French for Napoleonics, so it doesn't bother me. But I've got nothing against them.
I like the French in Napoleonics.
Yeah, but they've got they can have mortars in the squads, like hand mortars. I like mortars in the squads as well, like the Japanese Grenadier squads can, which is very cool. And they get, I think it's like a free howitzer or something like that. They get a free heavy gun. So that can be very useful, especially if you're facing somebody who's got a few tanks or vehicles. You can't take that many because of the army composition rules, but obviously you can take more than 1 platoon, so you can take more than 1 tank, and you can get armoured cars, and you can get armoured vehicles, transports, as well as the tanks in there. So you can have a fairly mechanised force, even from a standard platoon. So having something that's an extra heavy gun can be very useful.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to start wrapping the show up. I'm going to do a screen share of. Let me just have a look. 1 second. I'm going to. Anybody got anything they want to plug before we go?
No.
No.
I'm just going to squeak a Kickstarter that's still live.
Ooh.
Okay, so it's the Miniature Men Kickstarter, and you can get Cowboy Orcs,
What?
which is amazing. Look at that, Cowboy Orcs.
Wow.
You can't
Why
beat
would
it, can
you? Why would you not want cowboy orcs?
Exactly. And the stretch goals are unlocking different things, and there's also somewhere, where is it? There's like a bison. You just find it. The internet's gone amazingly slow for no reason.
Okay.
There you go, look at that. Have some of that, don't you? That's pretty cool.
Be still my prolapsing rectum. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's got a few days left. I think for about 22 quid you can get all the lot because of the stretch goals. And it's got 5 days to go.
Cool.
So there you go, that's my little plug.
So if you like cowboys and you like orcs, 5 days. 5
Why
days and
wouldn't you?
21 seconds. 21 seconds to go. 21 seconds to go.
Yeah. Now
Come on,
is
Jamie,
now
you
is the
want something
time.
different to do. Come on, Tranter. Get on the cowboy orc vibe.
Now's the time, yeah. Go do it. So the next show, which I'm on and Ringo is on, I think, is tomorrow night. What time is it on, Spud?
7 p.m. UK time, GMTV.
7 p.m. I will be talking about Journey Wrath of Demons.
Good.
Demons.
I'm quite interested in that. Quite interested in that.
Yeah, I had that today, so I've only had a quick look at it, but I'll look at the rules, etc., and the miniatures a bit more for tomorrow. And I'd just like to thank all my guests for coming on and having a ramble, and Ringo for staying awake through the bolt action section.
Yeah, it's been traumatic.
It's been a fun half hour, I can't lie.
So, I'd like to thank Mr. Jez Allum
Yes, thank
with
you.
Jez's painting blog.
Let me get some sound
There
effects.
will be square. It's very
Everyone,
good.
Spud can do the sound effects. Mr. Nathan Pancake Payne. And his black pad. Mr. Ringo Esquire.
The penguin.
So,
Oh dear. That's something that does. Mr. Chilling Wargamer Extraordinaire, check out the show tomorrow. Mr. Spud Tate.
Like myself.
And Mr. Chatapoo. Okay, that's it from us. Thanks if you've stuck with us. Thanks for watching. And tune in to us next time where we might be a little bit more interesting. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.